The town of Plainville. Established in 1721 at the geographical center of Connecticut.
So just to recap, and Robert, please do correct me if I misstate anything from some of these spreadsheets where we're currently looking. Adjustments to the town council proposed budget, we decreased the operating by $312,800, correct?
Yes, and that includes the reduction to the Board of Education's budget.
Oh, yes, I
which
see.
Is which is part of the.
Thank you. Yep, that's part of it. And changes to our CIP budget, this is a total of the board and the town, it was $306,000?
That's correct.
Okay, and so we are currently at a 0.66% increase over last year?
That's correct.
Thanks. Just trying to walk it through. And your note to get to $0 increase is $319,165.
Yes.
That's where we are right now. Okay. So I think the big unknown right now are some of the, hi Jesse, I'll wait till you sit up here. Keep going? Okay. We just reviewed the spreadsheet that we had received, and we're looking at a $319,165 number in order to get to a $0 increase. And again, some of the largest unknown is our revenue in terms of ECS, if that's going to be reinstated, and some of the other dollars which we are expected to receive through the federal government funding. And we don't know when those things are going to be confirmed. Correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
We do anticipate that we would know where we stood once the council was in a position to set the mill rate, which probably could be mid-May to, and if you want to delay it, waiting for, perhaps some direction till late May. So I believe you would be in a lot better position come mid-May.
Okay.
Of course, we're not at mid-May, so.
Well, we're still where we are. So I offer this to the council. There's a few things in my thought process that could happen now, or we could wait and roll the dice to see where we end up with all of these revenue yet to be discovered determinations. I did a little bit of looking back on some of for the past 2 years, I looked at our audit book just to give you some information. In 2018, there was $200,000 budgeted to be taken from fund balance, but it was not used because our year end ended up in a position where we did not have to use the $200,000. In 2019, the same situation occurred where we appropriated $204,000 from fund balance to, balance the budget. That also was not used. Correct so far, Rob?
In manner of speaking, yes.
Okay. I was trying to get a handle on where we have been in the past few years in terms of some of those things. The audited 2018 year end, there was $605,000 of expenses which came in under budget. And you can probably help fill me in on why some of these things happened. And in 2019, there was $1.17 million under budget of expenses. So I'm trying to understand, where we end up at currently. The past few years, of course, 2019 was an unusual year. So I suspect that some of that is not going to be the same in terms of the audit and where we end up with our expenditures. And our fund balance through February of this year is at 14.52%, which is $9,071,839. And that includes, I believe, this current year, $300,000 in tax relief. It's part of that. So we won't know until the end of the year whether that $300,000 will be needed, correct? Or do we have an inkling at this point in time where we are?
From a budgetary standpoint, yes.
I'm sorry?
From a budgetary standpoint, yes.
Okay. So what I would say is that we have historically budgeted tax relief from fund balance but have not used it to get to the year end. And that those 2 years are actually audited numbers. And this year we have $300,000 in there. So I would suggest, in order to get to a 0 mill increase, if we want to do this at this point in time, we could have two options. Number one, reduce some more expenditures. Or number two, take some more money out of fund balance, looking at our historic performance to try and get to 0. Or number three, do nothing right now in terms of this and wait until we get better information on revenues as to where we hope to end up. So I welcome any other comments if anybody has any that might want to contribute to this. So that's my opening.
Yeah, Madam Chair,
Mr.
just a
Wazarko.
quick question.
Yep.
This spreadsheet is based off of your suggested budget cuts, correct?
They're based off of, yes, some of them that we did implement. I don't
Right,
think
but
all of them are in there.
Yeah, I mean, all the capital,
some
we haven't
changes.
voted on capital yet. You just made a comment to the effect that we agreed to these or that, you didn't clearly state that we're still.
That's where we are right now.
Capital.
Okay.
I believe the only capital on there was the fire detection, am I right?
I think it was a fire truck.
Fire truck.
We all agreed on. in the
Right,
group
fire
there.
truck, but yeah.
The only thing I think is outstanding is the fire alarm system.
But right now, we're at a .45 mill increase based on what we've voted on.
0.45, yeah.
Right, and I just want
Okay.
everybody to understand.
Good
we're not
point. Thank you.
0.23,
Good
that's all.
point. I was looking at the extreme bottom line,
no,
and
I
you are
understand.
looking at where we need to, some of the actions we need to take. That's correct.
Because I would like to have some discussion around the town hall fire alarm. I think that's one of the things where, unlike a truck breaks down, you can fix it. This isn't something you wait to break down or to find, God forbid there's an emergency, and that's when we find out it doesn't work. And I think there is some conversation about we really need to do something about it. We've been looking to replace this for a number of years, but like Councilman Underwood said, the fire truck, I'm fine with having that in there. I would say, based on your suggested budget cuts, really only the fire alarm is the only one I wouldn't agree with adding that at this time. What it does is takes us down to .27 mill increase. If anyone's, that $50,000 difference does increase the mill rate from .23 to .27 if we don't include it. So that would be my only issue with the suggested budget cuts. And as far as the revenue, I do think between some of the COVID relief with the ECS money, I don't think we need to, at this point, add any fund balance to it. I feel that we have a better than 70-80% chance that we'll be able to bridge something by the time we get to May and have to set the mill rate. So that's my 2 cents.
Madam Chair,
Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
can we come back to that fire alarm if we decided to make it part of the reduction, come back to it later on in the year and add it?
Come back to it and what?
If the revenues are there, through the
sorry?
CARE Act revenues or whatever, to add it back in.
Well, of course, the situation with adding it back in, if we're going to wait till the revenues, we have to vote on the expenditures so that we can put it out to the vote, which is going to be the end of April. And I don't know that we're going to have that information by then. Didn't we say there was a maybe time frame that we would get some of that information?
I believe so, yes.
Yep. But the expenditures really need to be settled out before that.
Right, you could add it in as an additional appropriation, but you wouldn't be able to do it once the budget is voted on by the taxpayers in late April.
Right, so if we take it out now, we could always add it back in if we need.
You could add it back in the current fiscal year if you wanted to, or you can add it in
Right, that's
in
what I
next
think
fiscal
Dave
year.
was
was
trying
what I
to
was-
say. Yeah.
But
Okay.
Take the 50,000 out, but then if we need to add it back in sometime, we can do that.
What about the ACS grant money? Will that be known sometime in April, or do you think it'll go as far ahead as May?
It's hard to tell. I would feel more comfortable by predicting that it would be sometime in May at this point in time. And if it's sooner, I'd rather it was sooner and we predicted later than we predicted sooner and it ended up being later, so. I don't know, I could ask Steve LePage if he's heard anything with regards to ECS.
I was just trying to get an update. I know a lot of superintendents spoke against the reductions, so I'm waiting to hear how that was received. I'll let you know if I hear anything as soon as I can. It wasn't popular, though, to remove the ECS trajectory as it was going, so I hope it doesn't hold, but I can't promise anything.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes, I would like to ask the town manager, in the sort of, we're discussing, possible realized savings by the end of the year. I know last night, we voted on some equipment that was a capital item for this fiscal year. Are there other things, Robert, still outstanding that haven't been purchased yet, that are going out to bid or whatever?
Well, we have some savings, as you heard last evening, on the data
Right.
storage
Yes,
equipment.
It was considerable, actually. Yeah.
So, that's probably in the, I think it's a little bit under $100,000. I'd have to add it up quickly, those two numbers.
The savings on the two projects from last night is approximately 80,000 between the two, I believe, because we had 180,000 budgeted total.
Right.
And the total POs that we are cutting for tomorrow for these projects are just over about 105, 107,000.
Right, and so it was a total of 180 that was
Yeah.
budgeted
Yeah.
in the three different spots. Just wondering if there was anything else, of that magnitude that was still to be acquired this year.
Well, we haven't spent any great money on the sidewalks. We were kind of saving that up.
That we know. Yeah.
We were hoping
But
that,
we're planning to. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes. I know, Rob, you have the list
Yeah.
and where we stand right now.
I'm looking now, and a lot of them, at least a lot of the projects are really spring-based, or spring-summer type projects, like Robert said, the sidewalks, once construction season starts again, for example, our drain street repairs, leaf boxes to get ready for next leaf season. We need them ready for next leaf season in the fall, so we do that over the spring and summer. Those are the big dollar items that, if there are any big dollar items, those are the biggest items we have right now. Everything else is pretty much spoken for or encumbered, meaning the project's in process.
Okay, were there other savings?
I mean, nickel and dime. I mean, you're
Okay.
talking pennies on the dollar versus big ticket items that haven't, like the server project last night that we know we're going to come in under bid for.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Nazzo?
I have a question. The savings that we realized from last night, how much of that money's been already earmarked to be used to offset capital items for next year?
None,
None of it?
none.
And what's the split? I apologize, I don't have my budget book from last year. How much of that capital money savings is town and how much is schools? Or was it all one? I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah, we don't usually look at the capital that way, but on the storage was $80,000, 40/40 each. So if that came in, what, $47,000?
47,875.
So if there's a savings of
So what I split it,
$33,000,
right,
half of that would be town, half of that would be school in theory.
right. I split it both. I split it in half.
Okay.
And the police savings is just under $48,000. That's all town side.
So that'd be about 70-something thousand.
So we have enough money in realized savings to pay for the fire alarms out of this year's budget.
That's correct.
Okay,
So if I may,
go ahead.
I would like to see us consider moving that. I spoke with Mr. Wazorko earlier over the weekend, and I said I was concerned about the fire alarms after talking with you, and your response was, well, we think they work. You know, and those, again, that's,
They get tested, don't they,
That
on a
wasn't a
regular
direct
basis?
quote.
Don't they get tested?
you know, I mean, it's, I would, if we could, I'd like to see us use some realized savings from this year to pay for that. You know, well, then we could remove it from next year's capital. And then as far as the other, the 0.23 mil increase, I'd like to wait and see where what the revenues look like in May before we decide how to drop that mill rate down to zero, if that's the way we were gonna go. I think we'll have a good handle. I mean, we have almost more than 60 days before we have to set a mill rate. I would have to think we're gonna have more information on ECS and on the grant money. Not necessarily the amount, but how it can be spent, I think, is really what we need to know. Because if we can get to zero with that money, I would think that's the responsible way to do it. You hate to use one-time money to pay operational costs, you know, when they're really designed to spend one time. So I'd like to see us try to move the realized savings from this year to pay for the fire alarms, and then hold steady on the revenues, put forward the expenditures for the public hearing, for the vote, and work on using the revenues to drop the mill rate further.
Any other comment on that approach? I think it's a sound one.
Yes.
It makes sense if we can do that in this year to take care of the 50,000. It's 50,000, correct, for the fire alarms, estimated 50,000? So I would say yes to that myself.
be
I'd
okay
like to
with
hear
that.
from everybody else,
Yeah.
though.
I agree with Jesse and Chris on that.
Okay. Okay, so then we'll still end up at the 0.66%. Is that correct? No.
All other things being equal, yes.
Okay,
You know,
if we do that.
because I don't think you finalized the Board of Education's CIP, which I know where you're heading. I think I know where you're heading with it, so that
Okay.
has to be finalized.
Right, yeah, I think we still had to vote. I think we had consensus
Right.
on the fire truck, certainly, but I don't know if we ever took a vote on it, yeah.
Yep, we do.
Yep.
We do. Okay, is everybody on board with that approach to pay for the fire, the alarm system in this current year with realized savings? And it'll come out of 2022 capital number?
Yes.
And some of these, all these other items that we have on our list, is everybody in agreement with that, or are there other questions about any of the other?
I would just bring up one point is that, through the superintendent, we got a different way to get to 96 than what's on this list, which I'm fine with. I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts. But I was fine with how, with the recommendation from the superintendent on their side of the capital.
I thought we agreed to that already.
No, you did not.
I think what you asked for the superintendent's feelings, I shared that in an email that said that one of the projects has already been done. I think that was about a $19,000 project, and
Yep.
and the other one was reducing the monitors at Toffelon, as opposed to reducing the computer replacements and whatnot. It all added up to the same amount, so I would recommend that you go in that direction as well.
So that we can say those are good numbers that we have here, and
Yes.
superintendent
The 96 is good.
comfortable with that approach?
Yes, because the top-down monitors are really a 2-year project, so I see that as, instead of touching the replacement cycle that we've come to depend on for reliability for our kids, I'd rather use realized savings, hoping there are some for those monitors. If there aren't enough realized savings, looking at potential use of grants if possible. But yes, I'd rather, if that's okay, I would rather break it out that way for the same amount.
Okay. Okay. So we have left to approve the capital for the board, the capital for the town, and we have to approve the revenues that are going to pay for those.
Yeah, the general fund contribution to capital, which right now would stand at $7,850 unless you wanted to use the rest of the realized savings in the, to bring that down to zero. I am concerned, about, reducing the general fund contribution to capital, because that's been, a steady number, but I understand the reasons why, and,
Okay.
so And I think the switch to using unassigned fund balance to do capital makes a lot of sense as well, so.
Okay. Okay. So at this point, I just want to be sure of the numbers that we have to approve for our capital. So Robert, can you just confirm the capital number for the town, the capital number for the board, and the CIP number for us? So we have to have motions to, is everybody ready to do that?
5-minute break and let the paid people figure those numbers out for us.
I have a couple of numbers. I just want to make sure. Do you have what the numbers are, Rob?
I have,
So-
we have everything you need if you,
So Board of Ed, 39,730,972. 39,730,972 for Board of Ed?
no.
No?
You approved the Board of Ed budget, the general
is
fund.
CIP for-
CIP, okay, CIP
for-
budget, okay.
Board of Ed,
397,500.
397,
500. You reduced, it was 493,500 gross, you reduced 96,000.
oh, okay.
So the gross Board of Ed capital would be 397,500.
Okay.
And you see that in the orange column on the far right. On the capital, 5-year capital. This handout here,
Orange?
yeah.
Which one?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
got lots of.
Oh, this one, okay. No, okay.
So I would recommend that for the general government capital, that you might want to consider a total capital budget for general government of $1,359,500 with the understanding that you were reducing from the original request 2 items. Or is it 3 items now?
It's 2.
2 items, yes. That being the fire truck and the municipal center alarms. Second one could be to reduce the capital request for the Board of Education to $397,500, reducing $96,000 with the 2 projects, and I don't have the exact, what's the exact number on the?
The restroom cart and microfiber reaching tool is 19,500. And then the reduction for the Teflon displays upgrade is a reduction of 76,500. The total of those 2 projects are 96,000.
That way you would have that in the record. And then the last item would be that the general fund contribution to the capital improvement budget would be $7,850. And then once you've done those 3, then you would do a final budget amount.
Right, we would do a final budget for Department 840, which is total transfers out, which includes the capital. And then we do bottom line general government budget expenditure, bottom line Board of Ed budget, and bottom line total expenditure budgets.
Okay. Before we have motions, is everybody good with this?
I am.
Any further questions about what we're doing? Okay, so shall we do the capital first to take care of that? Board of Ed, can I have a motion to approve? Do you have the number I have it written down here.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
motion to approve the Board of Education capital improvement comparison for $397,500.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The town capital,
Madam Chair,
go ahead.
motion to approve town general government capital improvement in the amount of $1,359,500.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Can I have a motion on the general fund contribution?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
motion to approve the general fund contribution in the amount of $7,850.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, takes care of capital. Next is transfers in, right? Rob, can you just read off the motion so we can get it right and we'll go ahead with it?
Okay, so you would want the total Department 840, which is interfund transfers out. Total budget is $763,463. That is a reduction of $311,000 or 28.94%.
Okay,
Give
can
it-
I have a motion?
Give it to me one more time, Rob, the amount.
The amount is $763,463. A reduction of $311,000 or minus 28.94%.
Okay. Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
motion to approve Department 840, the transfer out in the amount of $763,463.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Do we have a final number that we have to vote on?
Yes.
Would you give that?
General government budget. Bottom line number is $23,629,987. It's an increase of $275,056 or 1.18%.
Madam, you want,
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to fund the general government in the amount of $23,629,987.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
You already approved the Board of Ed budget the other night. Do you need to do it again or no?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, then the total bottom line town budget, including general government and Board of Ed, is $63,456,959. That's an increase of $957,761 or 1.53%.
Rob, just so I can have this all together, would you give us the Board of Education? It
Sure.
was 800 or 600. Would you mind giving us the board?
The bottom line number for Board of Ed that was
Correct.
approved the other night was $39,826,972,
Okay,
which is an increase of $682,705.
thank you. Okay, is there anything else we need to do to at least take care of the expenditures tonight?
No, according to what I show, we've approved everything, all departments so far.
Okay. So, Robert, these are the numbers that we will, we're going to have a public hearing first week of April, correct?
Yes, April 5th, I believe.
Excuse me.
We do need to vote on.
And we,
Just,
It's
Madam
making
Chair,
me
we do
choke.
need to vote on the bottom line number. that 63 million, we do have to approve that.
Okay, let's have a motion for
Madam Chair,
bottom line.
I'd like to make a motion in the amount of $63,456,959.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that bottom line number? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
We will put the summaries together
Okay,
and get them out to the council as soon as possible and begin to publicize the decision that's been made for the recommendation for the public hearing.
okay.
I would point, if you like, I could point out that the council's goal is to have a 0 mill increase, and that it's hoped that the changes to the ECS delaying the phase-in will be rescinded, or at least changed by the legislature, which would bring more dollars, and that once we get better direction on the American Rescue Plan, or whatever the latest, what it's being called, and we understand what that can be used for, that might help to provide the revenues that would get us to a 0 mill increase. I'd like to add that to any, anything we produce as far as that's concerned.
I think that would be very helpful to at least, explain where we are at this point and what we have left to take care of in terms of the revenue, which is it 300 and,
It's approximately 317,000.
317. Okay,
Yeah,
I had
it-
319 the
yeah.
other night, but 317. Okay. I think that would help in terms of where we are with where we ended up. And I think, one way or the other, that's not an insurmountable number for the town to take care of in order to get to where we would like to be. It's my best hope that ECS will be again, restored as to where we anticipated. But one way or the other, I'm sure we'll be able to get to where we want to be at this point. So I do want to thank Rob for all of your help and patience with this. It's always, lots of numbers and moving parts. Robert, again, you are instrumental in helping guide us through some of these discussions and getting us to where we feel comfortable with some of these changes we've made that won't adversely impact the operation of the town. Of course, Superintendent LePage, your help is always welcome, and we do appreciate your understanding of what we're trying to accomplish as well. So thank you very much for what you've been able to offer to us during these deliberations. It's much appreciated. And of course, never last, but thanks to the council for all of your help. Your comments are always very insightful, and we all come from different places and thoughts and things that we think are important, but I'm happy that we were able to come together with a resolution that I think the town of Plainville will be benefiting from, at least for the next fiscal year. And there's always a mystery for the following end, but I appreciate your time and energy that you put into this. Anybody else have any comments before I ask for a motion to adjourn? Quiet group. Okay, well, motion to adjourn, please.
Madam Chair, motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.